Hey everybody. So I know you're in the middle of this Know Thyself investigation, but I wanted to make a short video to clarify things and to share with absent students what we are up to in class. And just a reminder of what we are doing. I'm hoping that we're simulating what Socrates did in ancient Greece. And in ancient Greece, it was carved right there in stone, know thyself. And we see Socrates here with his students in a Socratic circle, questioning them in the hopes that they learn to know themselves. Know thyself. So we're going to begin class with this, and we are also going to end class with know thyself. And we are going to use contemporary ways of looking at yourself. And that's what I'm asking you to do. I want you to be selfish and honest to goodness. This is all about you. So we are looking at ourselves with this list: Myers-Briggs, Bem Scale, sexual orientation, learning style, bias test, multiple intelligences, philosophical consistency, visual DNA, and any other areas. That's what you're looking at on your list yesterday, and you're saying, oh my goodness, this is overwhelming. So let me try to break this down into some bite-sized chunks that are better understandable. So the first thing we're going to do is learn what our Myers-Briggs personality archetype is. Now, there are 16 of them, and it reveals your personality. Now, you are totally free if you get one of these designations and you go, I don't really think this is me. Feel free to look at some other ones where you can be confident to say, I am this. Now, whatever we are, personalities, there's aspects that make us strong, and there's some challenges, and there's some jobs associated with it. So once you figure that out and you're confident in that type, I'd like you to compare yourself to others. I'll share with you a personal example. I am an ENTP. I'm a strong ENTP. But my wife is an ISFJ. In that relationship, we should compare the two. Now, my brother's an INFJ. Different type of relationship and different strengths and different challenges in that relationship. My father's an ENFJ. So take the people in your life and compare them, okay? And if you're curious, here's the percentage of population to what you are. So you can pause this video to see if you are common, uncommon, or somewhere in between. So let me see. I am red. Clarenceville red, 5%. All right. 5% of the population share my personality type, or I share it with them. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to be looking at is this Bem scale. Now, this Bem scale was made in 1974. Very old. It was made by a woman, Dr. Sandra Bem, who passed away a few years ago. And I want you to look at this. Is this antiquated? Are there traits that are masculine or are they feminine? Is it best to be androgynous? And again, this is a little bit of a debate, and I don't know how you see yourself, whether you see yourself as masculine or feminine and what you associate with that. Certainly, if I was your age, I'd say masculine is I can bench press the most and be the captain of the football team and kind of meatheady look at it. Now, I think masculinity is a little bit different. I see it differently, but then again, I've had children. But the way I want you to express it, you're going to get two numbers. One is masculine number, one is feminine. So a little bit of math here. So if you had a 120 masculine and a 114 feminine, you'd be plus 6 masculine. If your masculine was 100 and your feminine was 110, you'd be plus 10 feminine. So check that out. Look at yourself. Now, this is a fairly new addition to this look at ourselves, and it was suggested by students. Now, if you aren't comfortable here, by all means, skip this. This may not be a part of who you see yourself, but by request, students where it was a big part of their lives requested that I did this. And this is the Klein sexuality grid, and it looks at sexuality in a much different way. Now, often people who are not part of, who are traditional, it should say who are not part of it, should say people who are considered, traditional or cishet, people who identify with the gender they were born with and they identify, in a heterosexual way. Usually it's not a big point, but it may be to you. So totally optional. Don't get uncomfortable if that's you. Now, this is what nobody's going to be uncomfortable here, and this is valuable information. These are your learning styles. Now, how do you process this world? How do you learn things? Now, there's 8 different styles, but unfortunately in school, usually it's just 2, verbal and logical, mathematical. But there's different ways to learn. Now, it might reveal your GPA. You might be a very good student in class, but it might be because you have a high verbal intelligence. You might have a very low GPA, but you're strong in an area that we don't learn about. Now, when you get out of high school, when you have this knowledge, you know how to go about things. So we're going to look at learning styles. Now, this Harvard Project Implicit, you do have to register for this. And again, we are all products of our upbringings and experiences. Now, from this, we process the world in a less than objective manner. Now, you do, once you get on the Harvard Project Implicit, I'd like you to check out your different biases and just fiddle around with that and look at yourself. I'd like to share with you a personal example. Now, I was raised where work ethic was really the be-all, end-all. It was everything. And I'm a very type A person. So I might meet somebody who is a little more mellow in the work ethic department or more type B, and I might see them in a negative light without knowing them. That's a bias, but it can go the other way. I might meet a student from another school, and the student says, well, I'm a wrestler. I might think this person's wonderful without getting to know them. Both are wrong and both are biased. Both are not objective. So look at your own biases that exist. Multiple intelligences, similar to learning styles, but we've all been born with certain gifts and we've all been saddled with certain deficiencies. Knowing this about yourself is incredible self-knowledge. Knowing what you're strong in. So for me, for example, I have two. I'm very high in kinesthetic and I'm very high in interpersonal. I work in a job that I talk to people all day and I move around all the time. That's perfect. I have terrible natural intelligence. So I'm not a veterinarian or a forest ranger. I'd be terrible. Now, obviously, this is very simplistic, but looking at yourself, where are you strong? That's probably where you want to be with your hobbies, activities, and jobs. Okay, now philosophical schools, okay, don't think of school like Clarenceville High School, but however you think, there are other people who have thought similar things. Okay, like-minded people form these philosophical schools. Now, bear in mind, most people don't live 100% to one philosophy, but they take pieces of all of them. And here's 15 examples that might work for you, or you take a piece of it. Now, primarily, share with you a personal thing. I am primarily from this school of thought. I am a Stoic. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with rejecting it. You know, you might be an altruist, or you might wind up being, your religious beliefs might be your sort of thing, or you might be an Epicurean. You don't know that yet, but by June you will, and that's going to be something you can look at here. Visual DNA, again, this was given to me by a student. Two of these items were student given, and I liken this to like free-form jazz. You know, you kind of just explore and see where it takes you. This is the most fun of the things. But you might learn something about yourself. Just click that link and just go to town, free-form. And then the last thing is really up to you because, you know, it's you, and nobody knows you better than you. So you might talk about things, the role religion plays in your life, your culture. Oftentimes it's ethnic. If you are an immigrant or the child of immigrants, oftentimes that nationality is very much part of who you are. You might be part of a subculture. You might be a skater or a wrestler or one of those anime Japanese fans or a gamer. So there's a lot of subcultures associated with people out there. That might be you, it might be values, goals. What brings the deepest meaning to your life? And I hope I explained this adequately. Let me just break this down. Be selfish, be honest, turn within. Self-knowledge is power. When you know thyself, you are in a place of power. Self-knowledge puts you on the path to wisdom, and know thyself is the foundation of the house Western philosophy is built upon. So I look forward to seeing what you come up with, and I hope I explained things well. And my brand new philosophy students, get out there and know thyself.